3.
Welcome to Arts and Leisure on the HAN Network. This is our weekly program featuring everything that is coming up in the area's music, arts, and entertainment scene. We will interview local artists, authors, musicians, and even some nationally recognized names who may be performing here in our area. We will have movie reviews and film suggestions from the real dad, Mark Schumann, and etiquette tips from Catherine Michaels. This is your all-access pass, and here are your hosts, Arts and Leisure editor Sally Sanders and our entertainment reporter Steve Coulter.
Welcome to Arts and Leisure on the HAN Network. I'm your host, Steve Coulter. I'm joined here on the couch as always with my co-host Sally Sanders. We've been off all summer, Sally, but we're here back on the couch.
Well, not all summer.
Oh, not all summer. August,
a few
I should
weeks,
say.
yeah.
We're taking a nice little August hiatus, and now we're back. New time, Monday, 12:30.
It's a better spot for us,
It is a great spot because I think it's going to allow us to celebrate stuff that happens over the weekends, whether it's award shows or movies that we see over the weekend, and talk about it quickly and get the news out there to our listeners and our watchers because it's
it's fresh in our minds.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. It's fresh. We just saw it, and we can talk about it, and I think it's going to really help the show. Next week, we've got the Emmys. They're going to announce the winners on Sunday night on ABC, a huge show.
We'll be up late.
8 o'clock, Jimmy Kimmel will be hosting. This week, we're going to preview the Emmys, though, in a kind of preparation for what's going to happen on Sunday night. Best Drama category has 7 nominees this year.
Yeah.
We've got Downton Abbey in its last season. We have newcomers, The Americans is there, as well as Mr. Robot. Should be a pretty contentious category. I could see it going several different ways. You have The Americans, which could play spoiler as a newcomer, as well as Mr. Robot, which seems to have a lot of steam.
Yeah.
Downton Abbey obviously has the sentimental vote. And then, of course, you've got the Titan, the Goliath, Game of Thrones, with 22 nominees that we discussed earlier in the summer on our show. That one seems to be the favorite. What do you think?
I think it's probably going to go to Game of Thrones. But
a stellar 6th season, they really do.
I think any of the nominees would be worthy of it this year. Some years you feel like, there's some clear, check that guy out.
Right. But I think the one was Homeland. I think we discussed about that. That one seems redundant and a little stale. Yeah.
But the acting is still so good in that show.
You can't get better than Damian Lewis and Claire Danes.
Yeah.
Or, well, I should say Damian Lewis got killed off. So now it's just Claire Danes.
Poor Damian. One that probably isn't going to factor into it is Better Call Saul, which
that would be the ultimate.
Fun.
That would be the ultimate upset. Yeah, if Bob Odenkirk, one actor, that would be tremendous.
Yeah. But
Jonathan Banks is Mike.
And I guess I would kind of like Downton Abbey to.
So that's
to
the one
pick
you'd like to see win. Yeah, I'm voting for The Americans, but I think Game of Thrones is very deserving of its role as the favorite.
Yeah.
It ended its stellar 6 seasons with 2 of the best episodes of television of all time, I thought, and so. It has so much momentum going into the race on Sunday night because it won all those creative awards over the weekend.
Yes, a big handful of those.
and costumes and sound effects.
Not hairstyling.
Not hairstyling.
Not hairstyling. That was the People versus OJ, which is really funny.
Right.
When you think of
Sarah Paulson's perm they had to get done, right?
Yes, getting it just perfect.
And they also had to work on David Schwimmer's hair as Robert Kardashian.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, Game of Thrones did win a lot over the weekend,
they did.
And so they have a lot of momentum going into the show. Best Actor is also a very loaded race this year. We have, as we mentioned, Bob Odenkirk. Kevin Spacey is there again with House of Cards. Who do you kind of like in that category?
Well, I kind of like Kyle Chandler in Bloodline.
Oh, he's so good.
He's really developed that over I'm seeing the second season.
Yeah, I just finished the second season while we were on break.
And he's very intense, and you think he's a nice guy, and then he just starts to peel the layers away, and he's very good at just subtly revealing what he's really thinking. It's fun.
He can take on so many different roles, and it just seems so natural. Like you believe that he's the sheriff and this do-gooder of the family, but really he's got some backstory that's not so good.
Kevin Spacey, too, in House of Cards, was about as evil can get.
Yeah, especially there at the end.
In this past season, yeah.
I believe it's actually going to go to the newcomer, though, Rami Malek for Mr. Robot. I think he's
gotten
gonna
a
win.
lot of buzz, yeah.
I think he'll be the winner. I'm, again, going to vote for the Americans entry, Matthew Rhys. I think he did some of his best acting this season on that show, and he was just, him and Kerry Russell are 2 of the best actors on TV. I'm happy to see them nominated. I'd love to see them win, though.
How about actress?
An actress, I would really, I'd go again with Kerry Russell. I hate to
Okay.
be redundant, but Viola Davis won last year for How to Get Away with Murder. Is that
Yeah,
yeah. And she's always great. I've watched a couple episodes of that, and she's just like...
Yeah, I don't think this season is quite as groundbreaking.
Right, yeah, she's
so
lost a little bit of ground.
Yeah, although she's, as you say, she's always good. Claire Danes, again, we were saying...
Yeah, I can't do Claire Danes. She's
no.
too zany. It's
Robin
too much
Wright
for me.
in House of Cards.
Right.
That's the one I would like to see win. Just
Yeah,
because
she could play spoiler.
She could. She had some great scenes with her mother, played by Ellen Burstyn this year.
Who's also nominated in a guest slot.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where I'd like to go.
You can't go any better than those two actors.
Yeah.
And how about the comedy awards? Veep seems to be the favorite for best comedy.
Yeah.
But there are some challengers. Blackish. I would love to see Masters of None pull the upset. It's so weird because you don't really know. With the Golden Globes, they always give it to the newcomer in these kind of categories. But then with the Emmys...
They tend to reward...
They do. You see shows like Mad Men winning 4 years in a row, Breaking Bad, and Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul
And I don't
winning.
think Veep has lost anything. I mean,
Veep is such an unbeatable machine.
Yeah.
But I love Silicon Valley. I love that category. I think it has such a great, a deep listing of shows.
I think Master of None is interesting because it's a Netflix series, and
it doesn't feel like all these other shows. It
No.
has every episode was kind of new and fresh and
well, he made a separate story for each.
exactly. And unlike Netflix shows, it doesn't like roll into the next one. It starts a new. Yeah, it's very well
it's
done.
not previously on.
I'm rooting for Aziz to win in the best
Yeah.
actor in the comedy category.
He's pretty funny.
Yeah, another newcomer. There's 28 people, I
It's
believe.
too bad
that
they
were-
couldn't nominate his father. Who
Oh
was
yeah,
so
he was
funny.
so funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
But it's a nice combination of humor and touching sort of family events and
And commentary on family and
Yeah.
society and
yeah.
immigration. It's really a great show. I'd highly recommend Master of None on Netflix for
And
those who haven't seen the first
for comedy
season.
actress, probably Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
For
but-
Veep, yeah.
For Veep, but Lily Tomlin was great in Grace and Frankie, and Ellie Kemper is just
She's
marvelous.
another newcomer. It's incredible. There's so many first-time
Yeah.
nominees this year. She might, you don't know if they're going to just vote all for the new people or not. They
You don't
could.
know.
It could happen. Let's talk, it used to be called miniseries, but now the category is best limited series. And
Yes.
this is probably the most, we said the best drama is going to be contentious. Wow, though, this is going to be a battle for the ages between The People versus O.J. Simpson on
Yeah.
FX and Fargo, which were both critical darlings earlier this year. Both just had great casts. They are littered with
Stacked,
Yeah,
just
supporting actors. Lead. You have Sarah Paulson, as we mentioned. She's a shoo-in to win Best Actress in the limited category. You have Courtney B. Vance, who's playing Johnny Cochran, and
Yes,
he's,
and he's
also a shoo-in, I think, for Best Lead Actor in a limited series. But these two, they had the second most votes too, or nominees, I should say, of any series. I think it was 22 to 18.
Yeah.
Fargo was trailing, but Fargo could play spoiler
Fargo
on
is
Sunday
very
night.
strong, very strong. It has such a across the board great casting, and I think of Jean Smart as one of the characters
Yeah,
that
she's
kind
in
of
the
surprise
supporting
you. You know,
actress.
she's supporting,
Yep.
but she just
Ted Danson, you
boom,
had two vets there, and then you had the newcomers with Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons.
Oh yeah.
And then we were talking about on the ride up here today, Bokeem Woodbine would be lovely if he could win the Best Supporting Actor in a limited series on Sunday night. That'd be great. I think that is going to conclude our Emmy preview. We're going to be back next week to review.
there's so many more
Yeah, there's so many categories to talk about. But we'll give our gut reactions first thing Monday, next week at our new time here on the HAN Network. When we come back, we got Mark Halstead with the Greater Bridgeport Symphony. And to conclude the show, we'll be talking about Tom Hanks movies because he had a new one come out this week. And Sully, we'll be back after this commercial break.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At Mex on Main, Trumbull's very own Mexican Grill, we're all about fresh, fast, and friendly service. Our Main Street restaurant offers the best in traditional and non-traditional Mexican dishes, with only the best ingredients, never frozen. From authentic burritos, fajitas, quesadillas, and salads, we have something on the menu for everyone in the family. And enjoy our open salsa bar, giving you more ways to customize your meal. Stop in for lunch or dinner at 6528 Main Street, Trumbull, or find out more at mexonmain.com.
At Greenwood Physical Therapy of Bethel, individualized care, knowledgeable staff, and state-of-the-art equipment provide the best of orthopedic and sports medicine services. Our experienced therapists at Greenwood provide the highest level of knowledge and care. Greenwood accepts most kinds of insurance, and staff are there to answer your questions. Open Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., the clinic serves the greater Danbury area and is a convenient drive from Reading. Appointments are available within 24 hours. Just call 203-917-4792 or visit greenwoodphysicaltherapy.com for more information.
At the Ridgefield Suzuki School, we believe that every child can. Using the internationally recognized Suzuki method, children learn to play their instrument in an environment of encouragement, parental support, and community. The Suzuki approach seeks to develop the whole child to help unfold his or her natural potential to learn. Private lessons and group classes are offered on violin, viola, cello, and piano for children ages 4 and up, and young children can enroll in the school's early childhood classes before beginning an instrument. The Ridgefield Suzuki School, nurturing a love of music in all children. Call us at 203-403-2667 or visit ridgefieldsuzukischool.com. You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. More than 1.5 million viewers have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment broadcasting since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Arts and Leisure on the HAN Network. We're joined here on the couch with Mark Halstead of the Greater Bridgeport Symphony. You are enjoying your 71st season this year, kicking off Saturday, September 24th. A great concert planned at the Klein in Bridgeport. Mark, tell us a little bit about the show. I know you have a 22-year-old local pianist who's going to be highlighting the show. Yeah, prodigy action coming.
He began with Greater Bridgeport Symphony 8 years ago, 14 years old. And Gustav Meyer, our former music director, brought him in. He won a competition that GBS sponsored. And
his name is Alex Beyer.
Alex Beyer. I didn't mention his name. How did I do that? But Alex came in and just floored the audience here. He's 14 years old and came in and I forget which piece he played then. I remember his second concert, which is about 6 years ago. And I remember him he came to the youth orchestra through a rehearsal with Gustav Meyer. And Gustav, he was playing Rachmaninoff in that concert. And Gustav said, you know, it's said that you can't play Rachmaninoff unless you have 6 fingers on each hand, but Alex does it. And he was in a few concerts over the summer that I saw at the Pequot Library, and you don't see his fingers move. It's just a blur. It's so wonderful. But he is so into his art, into the history of the music. He understands where it came from, where it's going, and he brings all that love and attention into every performance. And he'll be doing the Beethoven Second Piano Concerto, which is this wonderful combination of moods as you work your way through. And it's just one of those pieces, I think the entire concert is marked by, at the end of every piece, you go, oh, I feel so much better now. And then you'll keep feeling better as the concert goes on.
Well, this is something we need.
Yes,
yeah.
we do indeed.
You're doing a tribute to Gustav Meyer in this concert as well.
He passed away last May. He lived in Michigan. And a good friend of ours who was a friend of the symphony, friend of the Meyer family, had gone out to see him. And so she went to visit, and they exchanged greetings. And the first thing he says is, "How is my orchestra doing?" So it was still his. It was still something he felt.
He was there 41 years.
41 years, and he guided so many of our musicians as well as there's many others. And we're going to do a tribute to him later in the season as well. We're going to have a special musicale in his honor called "Remembering Gustav," where we won't be able to get Alex for that one. We have him for our first concert, but we'll have Allison Eldridge and Andrew Armstrong and Alexander Markov and our own concertmaster Deborah Wong, and Eric Jacobson's going to host the whole thing at the Pequot Library.
That's lovely.
So
those are other local musicians too. Andrew Armstrong came up from New Canaan,
right? That's right. And these are all people that Gustav basically gave one of their first break or one of their first breaks to. So they have a very emotional attachment to Gustav, as does our audience still and our musicians. They adored him. And so did Eric. Eric studied under him as well. And so there's a good continuity here of having Eric on board now.
And Eric enters his third year.
Yes. And he's, as usual, just
Very, very excited, I can
joyful,
imagine.
excited.
Yeah.
And we were on the phone yesterday talking about the particulars of the concert. It's a very full program because we added in, as the first piece that we're playing, the Leonore Overture No. 3, which was the first thing Gustav ever played in Bridgeport in 1966. So it's like a 50th anniversary of Gustav's first performance.
And you just celebrated the 70th anniversary
We
this
did,
past
and it's
season.
our 70th birthday actually in a couple of weeks, so we're still in sort of 70th mode.
Still having celebrations.
No, we're going to party all year. It's going to be great. So that's the first piece up, which was added into a very big program to begin with. Then we're going to do a Shostakovich waltz from the Jazz Suite, and that's just great. I mean, it's so short, but again, one of those pieces that you listen to and you're just, how come I didn't know about this? This is so much fun. And then we're going to go into Alex's beautiful piano concerto, take a break, and then we come back with Dvorak's 8th Symphony, which, once again, Eric chose it because he wanted to start the season with something incredibly happy and joyful, and he chose Dvorak 8, and I've heard descriptions of it as being called bittersweet and other things. I don't see that. I love listening to that symphony. I've never seen it perform live, so this will be a wonderful thing for me too.
Yeah, it's a good way to kick off the season.
It sure is.
And it's not as cold, too. Warm weather, upbeat.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a couple shows in this winter, though, coming up in November and December.
Yep.
And you also have 2 more next year, March and April.
Right.
So
we're a
5 shows
concert
total this
series.
season.
Yes, and the second concert is a very fun concert for newcomers to the symphony. We're calling it GBS Goes to the Movies. We have a guest conductor, Ted Sperling, who is currently doing directing the pit orchestra for Fiddler on the Roof on Broadway.
Oh, awesome.
And he's coming to do the movie night with us. And we structured this and it took a long time to put the program together because there's a lot out there. But we wanted to bring music that was behind the movies, the real thing, the unadulterated versions. A great example is during the King's Speech when George VI is speaking, and you hear the slow movement from Beethoven's 7 in the background. And the music, of course, helps to make that scene something very powerful. It's very familiar to people. It's in Mr. Holland's opus, so we went around finding where else that particular piece was in. So we will also project pictures from those movies, stills from those movies. So I know we'll
So
have a lot
fans
of
of
people.
Richard Dreyfuss will be happy.
Yes, I'm well, he'll show up. That'd be nice. But I know there'll be a lot of people in the audience going, oh yeah, that's where I saw that. That's great. Because so much of this is in the background of everybody's life, and they don't realize
Sure.
it. until
Well,
they do
it's,
it.
for people of my era, cartoons were the introduction to classical
Bugs Bunny
music.
taught us a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah. Some
Yeah.
wonderful stuff.
You're also doing John Williams music in
Yes.
this, which is exciting. That's-
Second half, we're going to do then the music that was written specifically for the movies, and you can't do that without John Williams. So there'll be some Star Wars and Schindler's List and Raiders of the Lost Ark, but also Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind, and something that'll get every guy in the audience riding a horse in their seats. We're going to do the Magnificent Seven theme and a few others.
That's very timely with the movie, the
Yes.
new movie coming out.
Well, I don't know if they'll use the same music, but to me, the music is so cool. It's so
Oh, I don't
great.
know how you could do the Magnificent Seven without
You need
that
that.
music.
It's-
Yeah.
it's
And who's the composer of it?
You know what? Now you got me.
I can't remember it
Who
either.
wrote that? I wrote all this out last week, and I
Yeah.
can't remember that one.
I know. I mean,
might
I
be
hear it.
Not Elmer Bernstein, is it? Bernstein.
It's possible it
Might
is.
be him.
Yeah.
I know he's on the list. And we're going to do some Ennio Morricone, too, from...
Oh, I love him.
Oh, yeah.
And then speaking of The Godfather, we're doing the intermezzo from Cavalleria Rusticana, which everybody knows, but nobody knows they know it. And it's one of those that all go, oh, yeah, and they'll go along with the harp and the
Right.
strings.
Yeah.
It's like you said, everyday life, and you don't realize it until you hear it.
And that's one of the things we're really striving to do, is to reach out to an audience that already knows us but doesn't know they know us. And one of the things I don't know if you know about yet, but we're very proud of this year. We haven't raised our regular ticket prices for years. In fact, this year we lowered some. We
There you
took some
go.
seats up in the back in the balcony, and if you can make the stairs at the Klein, the sound all goes up to the back. And the view is tremendous, and they're $15 a piece. That is a movie and a little bit more. And the entertainment value, I think...
Oh, that's a good date night.
That's
That's a good date night.
value.
and speaking of then what else we can do, we have family packs this year. So you can, in those same seats, you can bring a family of 5 for $55.50. So imagine taking a whole, two adults and 3 children out to the
And
symphony.
you want to have the children there to
We do.
experience this
We
and
do.
Yeah.
kind of break away from their cell phones, right?
Yeah, well, this is the antidote to the over-digitization
Yeah.
of life. And I think parents are starting to realize that, because the parents have sort of sort of worked its way backward, and the parents are as digitized as the kids. But this will be a
Or
wonderful
worse.
event. Or maybe worse.
Well, hopefully
worse.
some young parents are watching us right now and
Well, I hope
getting
there's a lot
get a
of parents out
good
there
idea.
thinking, yeah, that's a piece.
Yeah, that
place
movie
to be.
themes one would be especially appropriate for
Kids would
families.
love that.
Yeah.
That's November 12th,
And adults.
correct?
Yeah.
November 12th for that one, yes.
Yeah.
And then we're going to end the year with La Boheme concert version. And the special thing about that is we're going to bring the Greater Bridgeport Youth Orchestra on stage with us for the second half of the concert. So we're going to have the cream of the crop of these great kids, which will augment our orchestra to something like 100 people on stage.
Wow.
We have wonderful soloists coming.
And Eric works with the youth orchestra too, right?
He does
Yeah.
go in and he conducted rehearsal with them last year, and he has played on TV with a couple of the smaller
Right, I
groups.
remember doing a story about that, yeah.
Oh, and they love him, and he loves them too. So it's great, and we want to do a lot more of that because that's kind of the. If we don't get the young people interested in this stuff, there won't be a future for classical music.
Right.
Yeah.
And these kids that want to play it, I think they're the greatest kids around. They're different. They're special. They work harder. They're better students. And I saw it with my own daughter, who was in the youth orchestra for many years. She made
Yeah,
great
it's a
friends.
discipline. It's
Yeah.
a discipline.
And it's more than that, because that sounds so, kids, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to go
Yeah.
be more disciplined in my life. There's the discipline helps in so many ways, but there's the camaraderie that you build. When you're part of a big team as an orchestra, those kids become great friends. And that you're friends with other kids that are great kids. It's a wonderful thing. So we're
And you
proud
get to
be
keep
able
a
work with
tradition
them.
alive that's been around for hundreds of years.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
So there are 2 more concerts in the spring.
In the spring, we have Bernstein at 99, and in keeping with our educational bent, no one in our area will ever mispronounce Leonard Bernstein again, because you can't rhyme Bernstein with 99. He would be 99 years old this year, so we're going to do West Side Story and a piece called Chichester Psalms. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yes.
that one, but I love the story of this, that he wrote it as imagining a young boy, King David, writing the Psalms. So there's a boy soprano that sings the Psalms in Hebrew, and the music is so emotional and challenging in many ways. And again, it's cathartic. It's a wonderful piece to listen your way through, and to hear that little bit of history behind it is great. And then we're going to go French in the second half of that concert. We're going to have some Ravel and some Debussy. So
And
a
that's on
very
March
special
18th
concert.
for
March
people that
18th.
are looking way ahead in their schedule.
Well,
Yeah.
we are selling subscriptions, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
not that far in
Yeah, of
advance.
course. And then you're closing out the 71st season in April with the 5th show, correct?
And that one is, the big part of that is Beethoven 6, which
Mm-hmm.
is the Pastoral, the Spring Symphony, that everybody knows from Fantasia. And we'll have some Stravinsky in there, and Jonathan Yates will be our guest conductor for
Oh,
that. So he's
awesome.
coming all the way from Norwalk. But our sort of sister orchestra in Norwalk, I consider all these orchestras to be family, because some people say, well, they're the competition. There's no competition, because we all will benefit if we all succeed.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
You're
And you
celebrating
share
the
some
same
of the
guest.
same musicians
We
as
do,
well.
sure. They go from place to place,
Yeah.
so some of them will know Jonathan, and others will be a first time with him, and we're very excited about that. It's a good outreach to their
So if people want to order tickets or subscriptions, they should go to your website.
website, www.gbso.org, or they can call the office, 203-576-0263, if they have questions. Many people like to give their credit card numbers personally. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
They,
we got a
don't
lot of
tru-
those
they don't
calls
trust the
in last
computers.
week. Yes, there's a little aversion to it. But we are actively taking subscriptions. There's plenty of good seats in different areas available, and those price ranges, too, I think are very special for us this year. They're lower, and the family prices are the thing that we really want to stress to people.
Yeah.
So bring
As you
the
said,
kids.
bring the kids,
Good.
exactly. Mark, as always, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you
and
for having
talking
me. It's
about
great
the
to be back.
upcoming season. It starts again Saturday, September 24th at the Klein Memorial Auditorium in Bridgeport. For tickets, gbso.org. Mark, we'll hope to see you on the couch soon.
I hope
We're gonna head off to our next
lots more to
commercial
talk
break.
about this season.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about Tom Hanks after the commercial break.
Washington Prime, now open on Main Street in Georgetown. Come enjoy our relaxed setting, excellent service, award-winning nightly happy hours, and feast on our creative new American cuisine. Connecticut Magazine's winner for Best Steak, Washington Prime of Georgetown.
The leaves are changing, water temps dropping, and the sun is setting a little earlier each day. But there's still a lot of great boating, fishing, and coast time left before we see the first snow. And above all, remember, it's always summer at the Dock Shop. With loads of new fishing tackle and accessories, clothing, jewelry, and home decor, the Dock Shop is just what you need when you start to feel that New England autumn chill. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
At Elements Massage Ridgefield, we believe in quality services that are affordable and focused on therapy and healing. The licensed massage therapists are available 7 days a week, offering deep tissue and Swedish massage, as well as prenatal and couples massage. Special introductory rates are available now, or try our Elements trademarked wellness program. For more information, contact Elements Massage Ridgefield at 203-403-3348 or visit elementsmassage.com/Ridgefield.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. My property taxes on my single-family home were close to $20,000 a year. Now that I've downsized and I'm in a townhome, and because of the condo tax laws, my fees have gone from $20,000 down to about $5,300 with the star exemption. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
Hi, this is Leo Carl from Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan. And you've heard me talk about the Chevy Volt for years. The new model gets 53 miles on EV charge daily, plus 420-mile full range. But don't take my word for it. You need to come in and test drive the Volt yourself. Visit us at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
Give your day a jumpstart with the latest news, sports, weather, and more on Coffee Break, live on the HAN Network, weekdays at 11 a.m. Connecticut news doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break.
Welcome back to Arts and Leisure on the HAN Network. Sally, we've got a new movie that came out on Friday that kind of kicked off the fall movie season, Sully, directed by Clint Eastwood, one of my all-time favorite personalities in Hollywood, and then starring Tom Hanks, my all-time favorite actor.
Is he your all-time?
All-time favorite actor. Clint is like, I don't consider him an actor, I consider him an entity. So it's like a different, like if I could have dinner with one person, it'd be Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
But if I'm gonna go see someone's movie,
it would
Tom
be
Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Right.
And
they're
so
together,
we've got
finally at last.
It's the double factor.
Yeah, it really is. When I heard about this movie, I can't wait to see it. I'm seeing it tomorrow night. And I didn't get to see it this weekend, and it kind of killed me, but I'm very
Well, I
very
think
excited.
the reason we all respond so strongly to Tom Hanks is there's this moral compass that you feel with him in any film he does.
Right.
There's such a center to him.
That he's going to be doing the right thing.
Well,
in some variation of it.
Yeah, we were talking before the show about traveling with Tom Hanks, which is kind of a
it's a disaster.
It's a
Whether
disaster.
you're on boat
The
or
Washington Post did this story earlier when they were introducing Sully and talking about how people should consider whether or not they want to get on a conveyance with Tom Hanks.
You have boat and Captain Phillips. You got a plane in Sully. You have spaceship.
Castaway.
Castaway is another plane. Spaceship and Apollo 13.
Yeah.
And you can't forget he takes his son in Road to Perdition on a journey in a car ride, which doesn't really end well for him.
No,
and probably
very
scars
dangerous.
the son.
And there's another car in Bonfire of the Vanities, which is about the only film I can think of where the moral compass does not show up.
Well, he's a gangster in Road to Perdition as well.
Yeah, but he's got
a
a center there
He's
too.
very Tom Hanks still.
So Sully, we're looking forward to it. It's a true story. It's something that really gave New York an uplift.
Yeah, 2009 January.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was still somewhat. It was a gloomy time. The
economy had just tanked.
The economy was tanking, and New York was still recovering from the attacks of 2001.
Right.
And this plane landing on the Hudson was such a miracle. And
155 lives were saved.
But the way that Clint Eastwood is reportedly going at it is interesting.
It's very Clint Eastwood.
Because he's
got
trying
the
to create a conflict.
Right.
He's trying to create a conflict, and there are some that argue there really wasn't much of conflict in the investigation of the decisions that were made on that day.
Well, you got to know that the results, you know that what's going to happen by the end of the movie, and that is what makes it so good, is that it's getting such positive reviews that he obviously has made a movie that's very compelling because you know what the end result is. It's kind of similar to American Sniper, and if you're going to see it and you're at the edge of your seat, then a lot of credit goes to Clint Eastwood for engaging you in such a story that you know exactly what's going to happen. It creates a very unique storytelling.
And just the pictures, the stills you see of Tom Hanks as Sully.
With the white hair.
He's just, he really looks like him. He was telling, I think it was on one of the late night shows, he was talking about how you get white hair in a movie, and I never realized this. I guess in the old days they just powdered it, but there's some process that involves putting acid on your hair and scalp every day because you can't dye hair white. And to be really authentic, to get the mustache and the hair right.
He's got a very white mustache.
He had to go through quite a bit.
Yeah, and Tom's got such a nice set of hair.
Yeah.
It has not turned gray whatsoever. He's just like he has been for the last 30 years.
It's
good-looking actor.
And another thing that makes this movie sound very appealing is that Clint Eastwood used a lot of the people who were actually involved in the event. I mean, the ferry captains, some of those are involved in it. Oh, really? Yeah. 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 Wherever he could, he said he pulled in people who were there that day to give it a real
authentic feel.
Yeah, and that's always a Clint Eastwood
staple.
Yeah, is
the
authenticity.
He used a lot of Boston people when he did Mystic River, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And shot that in 42 days. I don't know how long Sully took.
I don't think this one was too much longer.
No, because he started filming at the beginning of the year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and it's a short film. It's 93 minutes.
Yeah, tight 90-minute Clint Eastwood film.
Yeah, he said obviously he couldn't land the plane on the Hudson. They had to do that in a tank.
Right.
But
everything else
was filmed in New York in the cold.
Is there a baby in this one or no? Real baby like American Sniper?
I don't know if there was a baby on the plane, but...
It's one of my favorite Clint Eastwood stories. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about Tom Hanks. Should we start at the beginning of his career? Because he said this just ridiculous.
Yeah.
He had this rise in the 80s, you know, where he comes out of the comedy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was in Bosom Buddies.
Right.
Which is like this just goofy TV show with Peter Scolari.
That's correct, yeah.
Right, and from there,
he goes to Bachelor
all
Party
of a sudden,
and Big.
kaboom!
Yeah,
he was in Taxi.
He was in
did
Taxi.
An episode of Taxi.
And so he has this unprecedented rise as a comedic actor.
Yeah.
If you look at him in the 80s, and you think, oh, this guy will just be...
Just a sweet-faced boy was what he was in those days.
And he does Splash, A League of Their Own, and then he hits the peak. And the peak lasted for a decade. You start off with Philadelphia, and then you go into Forrest Gump, one of my favorite movies, then Apollo 13, Saving Private Ryan, The Green Mile. It keeps going.
Yeah.
Catch Me If You Can. It just never ends. You feel like we already mentioned Road to Perdition. It's literally a 10-year stretch. In there is Toy Story, which is one of the better animated movies of all time.
Yeah, and it clearly has his stamp on it, too.
Right. He wins 2 Oscars. It's probably the best run in Hollywood history of any actor.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has another peak. I think he's hit a second peak late here in his career with Captain Phillips, which was one of his best movies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then he has Bridge of Spies last year, which was terrific. And then again here with Sully, and maybe he'll get another.
I think he's got 2 more coming out this year.
Yeah,
at least.
Hologram for a King, which premiered at Tribeca.
Yeah.
Which got pretty good reviews, and then I think he has one more. You're right.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, he has the Ron Howard movie, of course.
Yeah, the Ron Howard movie based on the what's his name's book?
Dan Brown.
Dan Brown's books. Yeah.
And he's done a little bit of everything. We were kind of talking about that before the show. These are roles that are very different from each other. Whether he's a captain on a ship, or he could be a gangster. He could be a war veteran who is playing someone with disabilities. He's very, very versatile.
He has the ability to be very stern at the same time. You can see that underneath all that sternness, there's this sweet heart. I don't know how else to describe it, but in Saving Private Ryan, he's like that. He's the very fierce
military general.
Yeah.
He's always kind of a leader, I guess. That's one of the commonalities, I guess, in the threads, is that he's always...
Well, and then you think about Castaway, which is just...
He's by himself with the volleyball. What a role that is.
Yeah. Amazing that someone would take that role and say, oh yeah, I can do that. I can spend a whole film talking to a volleyball.
And that was, besides this movie where he's got the gray mustache, definitely his most famous
hair.
Facial hair experience, yeah. You forgot all about Castaway. Is just this very, very powerful movie with Robert Zemeckis as the director. One of his best, I think. Also part of that first peak. It's just like that never ended. He had just roll after roll after roll that were.
Now, did that
Academy
come
Award
before or
nominee.
after Forrest Gump?
After 2000,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Forrest Gump was another film where with a lesser actor, it just wouldn't have worked.
No.
And
That's kind
for
of
him to choose to take that role and say, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be on a beach by myself talking to a
Yeah.
volleyball.
Yeah. Or I'll be this guy who just, hasn't got too much upstairs and
Right.
just wanders around the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Tom Hanks. He can do everything.
Yeah. So, Sully.
Sully's playing every theater, I think, but I'm going to go see it tomorrow at the Prospector Theater in Richfield. I'm
Which is
looking
a great
forward
place to
it,
see
yeah.
a film.
I'm looking very forward to that, and I think that concludes today's show. We'll be back next week to talk Emmy.
Yeah, exciting
our
stuff
Emmy
next week.
reaction. We're very excited to be back on live here on Monday.
Yeah, at 12:30.
Like next week, so it's going to be very exciting. And thank you all for watching. I want to thank Mark Halstead for joining us on the couch.
Yeah, it's always good to talk with you.
Oh yeah, he's great. And I think that's all. And go see Sully. Go buy tickets to the Symphony 71st season. We'll be back next week on the HAN Network. Thanks for watching.